www.redhotradio.fm. You found it. The Internet's redhotradio.fm. Oak Park, Chicago, Illinois. redhotradio.fm.
Peace and blessings. My name is Yakira Levi. I represent C.O.R.E Music Foundation, and redhotradio.fm. C.O.R.E Music Foundation is dedicated to music, literacy, and the arts, and C.O.R.E is a united organization of various musical artists working together to obtain success in the music industry. Today, I have a shining star that is amongst us, shining very brightly. He is here to tell us all about his art, and his name is none other than, drum roll, Goose Wayne.
Yeah.
Goose Wayne is in the building.
What's going on,
Give it up for
everybody?
Goose Wayne. Tell me, who is Goose Wayne?
Goose Wayne is a cosmic rebel. Goose Wayne is an entity that speaks for a lot of people in the way they want to speak and how they would like to speak on a lot of things, but afraid to.
Okay.
Very outspoken, very social person. Like, just, I feel like a lot of people that died in our past of, like, you know, who we think is gods, like music gods, like Prince and certain other guys in the past. Like, I feel like those spirits never leave. Those spirits just, they all get shared amongst us. And I feel like I took a lot of their spirits in me, so.
Standing on the shoulders
Yeah.
of those who have come before us, Ashe. We are definitely giving respect to the ancestors today on this show. Goose Wayne, tell me, which of those ancestors do you feel most connected to?
I feel connected to all of them.
Okay.
All of them, from all the way from Chuck Berry to Little Richard to Lenny Kravitz, just all. I mean,
Well,
Lenny's
Lenny is still with
living.
us.
Lenny's still living, but Lenny's spirit is with me still.
I feel you.
You know,
I
and
feel you.
a lot of, just all of them. I'm such a sponge. I listen to everything. Like, some people be like, oh, I listen to everything. I literally listen. I wake up and one day I'm listening to Led Zeppelin. Next minute I'm listening to opera.
Okay.
Next minute I'm listening to Stevie Wonder. Then I'm listening to 2 Chainz. So my mind and my ears are bound to find anything and listen to anything.
Okay, so when you say the rebel, would you expound on that a little further?
Yeah, you know, because some people take it in different ways. Like, to be the cosmic rebel is basically like, and just in the universe of things and spirit, like, I find myself opposing and being in opposition of a lot of things that are what people say is status quo or standard, what's to be standard things. You know, I remember one time I walked into a Harold's Chicken in Chicago, and that day I didn't want mild sauce on my chicken, and somebody looked at me crazy and said, "You don't want mild sauce on your chicken.
You don't want mild sauce? You ain't from Chicago."
Right, you're not from Chicago, but it's just like, who made? And I'm always questioning, who made that standard? Who made that?
Okay,
You
so
know?
you think outside the box. You just play to the rhythm of your own drum, and
Yeah.
it could be on point with whatever the rest of the world is thinking at sometimes, and then at other times it's not, and you're okay with that.
I'm wonderful with it.
That's
you know?
what's up.
It's almost like they say true intelligence is not of what you know, just knowledge and smart wise. True intelligence comes from questioning and asking why. Why is this that? So I'm always gonna question.
No doubt, no doubt. And I'm the same way when it comes to thinking outside the box and just being 100% cool with me the way that I am. So I can respect that. Moving on, I'd like to get a little bit personal. Some people don't like to share their real birth name, but as a writer, as a artist, a lot of times you write songs, and when you register them through ASCAP or through copyrights, you use your real name mostly, right?
Right.
So if there's a song that you wrote and someone knows your real name, if they're looking through the credits, they'll be like, oh, that's Goose Wayne that really, really wrote this. So what's your real name?
Yeah, you know, I
If you want to share.
I'm down. Like you said, like business wise, my name out there anyway, because on the records and credits and all that and copyrights. And so my real name is Maurice Avery.
Okay.
And first and foremost, I'm never disapproved of saying that, because at the end of the day, I wasn't even given my name Goose Wayne. I didn't even come up with Goose Wayne. So I was named by somebody else.
We come
my
to
real
that.
name.
We come to that, because that's a very interesting story. But go on.
So I figure, like, why not, tell people my real name as well, because I feel like it's three different individuals. You have Maurice, you have Goose, and then you have the Cosmic Rebel. But they all kind of combine to be that third.
Okay, so do you have like split personalities? Do you have like really going on?
I don't have. I definitely have. I don't call it split personalities, just moods.
Okay.
Every human being experiences all different moods. We're not one mood at all times.
No doubt.
That's why it's hard for me to watch. I can't watch just one type of style of movie. I can't listen to one type of style of music. I can't do one style. Like,
I noticed that when I saw you perform. I heard a little bit of alternative rock. I heard some kind of hip hop-ish. I heard some R&B. So I remember at the time when I was in the market as a performer, and I was approached by actually the big three. At that time, there were only three, and those were the majors. And one of the things in the contracting process was trying to fit me into a box, right? They were like, no, you have to have a particular genre. You have to pick a style. Or actually, they were like, we're going to pick your style, and we're going to create you into this robot that we want you to do to push our propaganda. That's a whole nother story. However, I was never comfortable with just doing one particular style. So I 100% understand, and I correspond with you on that 100%.
It's rough. It's rough. Like that box, nobody likes to be in that box.
Nobody likes to be in that box, because in real life, none of us are really in a box like that.
Right.
We all, like you said, have not split personalities, but we all have, like you said, various moods or various aspects of the oneself. Right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you might feel like a rebel, and in that moment you need to be able to hit an alternative rock song, right? Or you might feel like romancing, so you need to be able to hit an R&B ballad or something. You dig?
Jazzy.
So I get it.
And I was talking to Scoop and Cashier about that on the phone one day, and about how, like, even music now is becoming moods. On Spotify and all of that. It's not really just genres, it's moods. If you want to feel angry, you're going to find whatever can be angry. I can find something jazz orchestra that has anger in it, that strikes anger in it, and it ranges.
You can even find something classical that at a particular moment strikes anger. You know what I mean? So music is all about frequencies, and patterns. So yeah, I'm with you on that. I agree with you 100%. Now, before we go any further, let us, because we're going to come back and define these three archetypes that you have, these three personalities or moods, right? But to start with, how did you get the name Goose Wayne?
I got the name Goose Wayne because before I became even like more vibrant than I am now, as far as the way I like to dress and everything.
Right.
I can't, I was a regular Chicago kid growing up, South Side, Roseland, and we used to go to one of my homies' cribs, and it used to be like 15 of us, and it'd be like producers, rappers, singers, and we'd just be in there just creating, just one crib. And I kept coming there with a bunch of Grey Goose bottles, because I like to drink Grey Goose.
You like to drink Grey Goose, okay.
And then I'm a huge fan, I'm an anime fan, by the way. Very huge anime fan. Let anybody know.
What kind of anime? That weird anime, that freaky anime, or what kind of anime?
I'm gonna lie, I have watched hentai. I wouldn't be honest or a man if I said if I didn't watch it. But I'm a huge anime fan. Marvel, all that stuff, Japanese. But my favorite guy, Batman.
Okay.
Batman, and I always loved Batman because out of everybody else, he didn't. Because I look at myself the same way. I don't sing the best. I don't think I'm the best rapper, even though some people would say, "Man, you go hard." But I don't feel like I'm the best dancer. I'm not the best at this. I'm not the best at that. But what I do is just so it's strong. And
But can I just interrupt you for 1 second? I can't even let you go there. You
Oh,
the
man.
best at sliding across the floor. I'll tell you that for sure. And we'll get back to that. But this man, we're not going to get back to it. We're going to talk about it right now. This man, I saw him in live performance, and he was going in, and the performance was magnetic for sure. But at one moment, all of a sudden,
It come out of nowhere.
he just slid across the floor on his knees. And I mean, I don't mean like a little slide. I mean, it was like a projectile across the whole stage and all past the audience. And we couldn't do nothing but scream and clap and be like, Hercules, because that was pretty cool.
Mine be like, where did he just come from? Like,
and then I came in and inspected, and his knees weren't bruised or anything. So I'm like, wow.
not until later.
Later?
Later when I got home.
Okay.
I got home and you take. So I will say that you do take a beating when you give your blood, sweat, and tears to this game. You know.
Okay.
But you do it for fun. You know.
For the love of it,
For the love of it.
indeed. So back to the Bruce Wayne part of the story.
The Goose Wayne part. So I was coming to the studio with a lot of great Goose bottles and a dingy Batman shirt. A dingy Batman shirt. And I say dingy because probably since high school, I've never cared about that's when rebellious spirit started. I didn't care about ironing clothes. I just put my stuff on and I just go. So
But you take baths and stuff.
I take
though,
baths.
Right? Okay.
I take baths and all.
Don't rebel against the
No,
hygiene.
and I do wash my clothes,
Okay,
but
okay.
I don't iron.
Okay.
That's the one thing I don't do. So it's just like I put on.
You're not alone. We're not even going to talk about my dress today, but go on.
So I came in the studio one time with the dingy Batman shirt, and I used to get big old Goose bottles like the leader, you know. And I share with everybody, and one day because everybody want to crack on people, and he was just like, man, dude, you coming in here with this great Goose and this dingy Batman shirt, man, you somebody like Goose Wayne or something, dude. And when I looked, everybody kind of like in there was like, pause, because at the time I had just left an independent deal that took my other name for like 4 or 5 years. So I was just like in the studio, just like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna call myself. Maybe I should just call myself Maurice. I don't know.
Right.
And when he said Goose Wayne, I said, man, that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it. And I was like, man, that's my character. That's
Okay.
sometimes I feel like I'm Batman. Sometimes I feel like I'm loved more than I'm loved more than I think I'm loved, and I'm liked more than I think I'm liked. But a lot of times I feel like I'm not liked, or I'm not loved, or I don't get the bird's attention sometimes, and that's Batman. He's a vigilante, but he doesn't do it for money. He doesn't do it for fame. He does it. He just does it because it needs to be done.
And he does it for the good, the greater good.
The greater good.
So you getting everybody drunk for the greater good, huh? With that greater good.
I mean, that is to open people up, because one thing when I'm in the studio, I'm a very stickler. I'm very creative, and if the vibe, if we're not I don't like talking about money in the studio. I don't like talking about oh man, is this gonna get us a Grammy? I don't like talking about Grammys or none of that. I like to dig deep inside and know what are we creating this for. Where are you feeling emotionally? Where's your vibe? Where's your mind with this record? Sometimes we just start jamming. We just start playing instruments, and next thing you know, we come up with choruses and stuff like that. So it varies.
So what are your skills? Are you a producer, a songwriter, a performer, a musician that actually plays instruments? Tell me more about your background.
I'm all of the above, and I'm still improving everything.
Okay.
I'm a producer, I'm a singer, songwriter, I'm a rapper, / kind of an engineer, arranger, composer, producer, going the same thing. Musician, and I'm still improving my musicianship. Okay. Play tambourine. Like I said, I play tambourine a lot. He
plays tambourine, and this is real. He's not joking. He plays tambourine.
No
now,
joke.
when people say they play tambourine, it's usually like some old background. You saying that you really have studied the tambourine?
Yeah, I had to start looking on YouTube for all and I'm mad I can't remember. My drummer, when he see this, he'll be mad that I can't remember the name because he put me onto him. But it was this one cat from New Orleans. I can't remember his name, but I just watched his videos quite a lot, and just the way he broke down the variations of like just how you can use the tambourine, the different tambourines, you know, the open closed ones. Like I was amazed. I was like, wow, to take something that's something so simple, and what people would think is simplistic, but make it complex. I was impressed.
No doubt.
Now, it didn't make me want to go to the Triangle, but I definitely was like, yeah, this tambourine is. So I was like, tambourine is cool,
You
man.
can do a lot with the tambourine, you
Yeah.
know? You can.
And
but
plus, one of my favorite frontmen in rock, I think like Mick Jagger or one of them, like Steven Tyler, one of them likes to bring out tambourine. So I always was like, yeah, tam.
the tambourine, I like, because even if you're not playing an actual, like one of the main instruments, the tambourine keeps you in the spirit. And in time with the band. So you are still sharing energy, still sharing musical energy, and you're in key and in time, and you're just like 100% zoned in, or what is it, like zoned in or tuned in?
Just tuned in.
And
you
they're
know
tuned
what?
in with you.
Now that you said that, matter of fact, I have to give first props to when I was a young boy being in the church and seeing old ladies when they jamming in the church and they get up and that tambourine and you look, and I'm looking like, man, I know the band getting down, but man, that lady killing on that tambourine.
Right.
So yeah, it always has been like this, like back of thing in my mind thing, like, man, I want to mess with the tambourine. So
No doubt. Tambourine could be a timekeeper too, depending on what instruments, and like a music director can actually use a tambourine to signal people in and stuff too. But moving on. Congratulations on that, man. Y'all don't sleep on the tambourine.
Don't sleep on the tam. Like I said, I don't know when the Triangle gonna make it, but the tam is definitely got some skills.
Now, as far as production is concerned, what software are you working with?
I mainly use New Age, Fruity Loops. But a lot of people that like, even my engineer that's at the studio, he's from like the old days, man. He knows about tapes and all of that.
Okay.
And
ADAC
and all.
reels.
So, yeah, it's cool to learn from him. It's cool, to get an idea where things was at. Especially when I feel like we're working on something, I'm like, hey man, I want to do more. Let's do more like lo-fi on this one, or let's do more. Let's do a little more dirtier, like old style.
Sure.
So we'll come up with ways to give me like a more grungier sound or something, like we did on this new record called Ecstasy.
Okay.
It's got a grunge sound to it. So.
No doubt. So tell me 3 of your favorite songs that you've recorded and released so far.
Man, people that like out there that know a lot of my catalog, like my closest people, they'll be mad when I say this, because they'll be like, "What? He got so many." Like I have probably by the end of my death, I probably have as many songs as Prince, somehow. I probably got about 500.
A lot of songs.
I got probably about 500 records in my vault.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you own the rights to all 500 of those songs?
Yeah, I copyright as soon as like Goose Wayne is trademarked.
And I'm glad you learned from that experience when the previous record label owned your name, because at that point, of course, they trademarked it and they had ownership of it. But I'm glad you learned from that experience, and when you had the opportunity to become a new artist with a new name, you went right away and trademarked that.
Went straight to it, and I understand I used to want to be in the music business, and then I said, I can't be in the music business until I learn the music business. Mm-hmm. I couldn't sit back and no longer be like, I'm going to wait on management. I'm going to wait on a label. I'm going to wait on somebody to just take me everywhere and just take control of it. No, I want to know as much as everybody else. And when you start looking at your heroes and influencers like James Brown and all these other people, it's like, man, these people they didn't play no games. So,
right.
Hey, it's not. Yeah, I don't want to play games
One
either.
person in particular that I really admire when it came to that was Ray Charles.
Yeah.
He made sure, even as a blind man, that he was on his business and that he owned his masters, etc. That's another one of the things that we do with C.O.R E. We try to teach artists about the business, because I myself did go through a few weird things during my time as a person that was seeking record contracts from the big three at the time. And I was lucky because I had a nice team and I was pretty active in my research. But there were many artists, especially here in Chicago, that went through terrible things like getting signed and being shelved.
The stories I done heard.
Being signed and being stuck and not able to release anything ever, and being stolen from, and people not really knowing about copyrights, not knowing about trademarks, not knowing about publishing. So we want to,
Masters.
Not knowing about masters, and not realizing that you can't go in the studio and record a track and get one copy of that CD and go and think that you can use this one copy of the CD and be good. What if you need to make revisions? What if you need to have like a show track? What if you need to, but if all you paid for was this studio time and all you walked away with is this one, and it's not even a session. It's one thing. It's not really.
And it's funny you say that because with all those things, and when you ask me all the things that I do, I'm also a studio owner at this moment in time.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I have my own. It was three of us. It's three partners at the studio. I'm one of them, and there's two other partners, and one of them is the engineer. 12 Tone, the great 12 Tone Sensei. What's up?
Shout out to 12 Tone.
And we at our studio. It's amazing how many acts and artists come in, and they don't know about ASCAP and all of that. And like you said, some of them come in, they get that one record done. And then they come back 6 months later and they're like, oh, I got to get an edited version. And it's like...
And a lot of people throw that stuff away.
Yeah.
Or they might hold it and recreate a whole nother song from your original material. So, yeah, man, we got to be smart about this, In this age of technology, there's so much that you can do on your own and profit from it. Let's not take our art and just give it away. Let's at least be the ones to... get some kind of benefit out of our own artwork before, giving or sharing.
Giving it, we got to take control. And I talked to Scoop and Cashier about that a lot too. About we got to, and I talked to a lot of my people around me. I say my people, y'all know what I'm talking about, man. But when I'm around my people, it's just like I talk always about ownership, and we got to take over programming. One of the bad things going on right now is programming. And I was proud when I saw these interviews going on with C.O.R.E and T-Rock, and I saw this in the C.O.R.E, and I'm like, man, this is what I'm talking about, programming. One of my favorite shows to watch on YouTube right now is Corey Holcomb from Chicago, one of my favorite comedians.
All right.
5150.
Peace.
I love that show.
Corey, no
and
doubt.
The way he took over his programming and took over his content, we don't, it's like why are we chasing Hollywood now? We can create Hollywood.
Create our own narrative. Okay.
Create our own narrative.
And not be put into the category of the propaganda that they want to push or the agenda that they want to push, because that's what happened with hip hop. That's something that we created ourselves. Okay.
Yep.
And once they realized the potential of that, and they saw a lot of people not profiting financially, but profiting spiritually from it, because you already know there were lots of people, like the whole Nation of Islam movement kind of grew from some of the lyrics that were portrayed in Public Enemy's music, Fight the Power, right? Revolutionary minds were sparked listening to certain music from Brand Nubians and the list goes on and on and on, right?
Tongues, yeah.
So what happened eventually was the powers that be, said we're going to take the thing they love and use it against them, poison it, feed it back to them, and let them take it back to the nest and destroy themselves. Yeah. And that has definitely happened, okay? We went from talking about UNITY, right?
UNITY.
What's my favorite song, right?
Too short. And I don't want to take nothing away from like Too Short, you know. But you're right, that's a far away from UNITY.
It's a far cry for help as well, because not only is that just a song and an anthem, and everybody sings even I am guilty of saying that word when that song comes on, right? And blow the whistle. You know, you can't really help it if you in that environment and it's going down. However, psychologically, that's a program. You know, you being brainwashed right now, right? And not from saying we're not a B or a H in UNITY to now every song you hear on WGCI or whatever the mainstream media is projecting out or giving the African American youth in Chicago. Let's just deal with that alone. But the programming is pretty much the same all around, right?
All around.
But the content that they are projecting is not of upliftment at all. No. It's all either about sex, it's about trapping, it's about, you know what I'm saying? And that's destructive. The only way that they get people to, so what's the 13th Amendment? Slavery is abolished, right? Yeah. Unless you're a criminal. Then we can put you in slavery. So now we need some slaves, right? So we need to find a way to make more slaves. We're going to brainwash them, feed it to them in their music. We're going to make them feel like the only way they can thrive and be the man is to sell drugs. And we're going to catch them up and we're going to put them in jail. And then now they're going to work for us. They're going to be our slaves. So this is like a perpetual language that has occurred in our music, which in turn has brainwashed us and become really our day-to-day lives in society. So I don't take it lightly when I talk about the messages that we disseminate to the world.
I don't take it lightly either.
So tell me about some of the messages that all three of your personas share with the world.
Maurice is more like, he's more of the thinker. Maurice is more of like the strategizer. Let's think about things before we go about it. Hey man, don't, let's not jump. Let's see if we can diffuse the situation before we get there. Goose is kind of like the in-betweener. Goose is like, well...
Because Goose is drunk, right? So.
Well, yeah, Goose is the fun guy. That's the fun guy, And the Cosmic Rebel is... That's man, that's a lot of people, man.
That's who I'm interested in.
That's it's like maybe the reincarnation of like Marcus Garvey, Tupac, and a bunch of other people mixed together,
Okay.
It's that strong, and I'm never afraid to speak that strong. A lot of people, like, it'd be funny when people come to the studio and they rapping to me and they like, yeah, man, you gotta check out Goose though. And I'm hearing they rap, so I'm like, oh, that's cool, man. But then they hear me and they like, did he just say that? But can you even talk like that nowadays? And it's like, yeah, you still can talk like that. You can still say what's on your mind and say what's on your heart, and and I don't have no fear of anybody that feels differently. I mean, because I'm never opposed to sitting down and having conversations with all walks of life. But I know a recent song of mine called Rebel. I was recording it in the studio, and I had sometimes I don't mind people when they are in the studio with me and I'm recording. And a few of the producer homies with me, they was in the room, and I clicked that button, and I just go in, and I'm da-da-da-da-da, and next thing you know, one of the lines said fuck a Jesus in the pulpit, and the room just stopped. Like, they just say fuck a Jesus in the pulpit? And I said, and when I got off the mic finally, they just like, man, like, if you taking it there, like, and this project I'm working on is that. It's like, it's gonna be fun records, it's general records, but at the same time, it's gonna be records that's gonna make you be like, cringe, like, oh, why he say something like that? Or what would he, just where's his mind at?
Okay.
But it's all about the questioning.
Yeah,
why?
Yeah, and here's the thing. Cringing is necessary if there's a message behind it that really needs to be heard.
Yeah.
We're not just doing cringing for shock factor. We trying to really
Oh,
put
no,
a message out there.
I don't like shock factor. No.
But I want to get back to, because the shock factor did exist in that room when you said fuck a Jesus in the pulpit, right?
It did.
So
It
what
did.
was your thought process when you said that? Like, why did you say that? Like, what was your reasoning? What was your message behind that? Because just so you know, and just so I could share with the world, I am not a Christian at all, and it doesn't matter one way or the other. I 100% promote free thinking, okay? And I want people to think, and I want people to express themselves, but I want everybody to understand what you're thinking and what you're expressing, not just the statement, but okay, explanation behind that.
And my explanation is, like it's a 16-bar verse, and you can only fit so much in on a 16 sometimes. And so when I write, I try to write in general to break down something that's a little more that's complex. And when I said that line, it's not literally just saying only fucking Jesus in the pulpit with the way it all comes together. It's really saying, as human beings, as I keep looking at this earth, we keep finding, like, the more I see tragedy and the more I see human on human things going on, violence and all of this, we care more about things and things that we either have doesn't even have the same value to it as a human life,
Yeah.
or things that we never seen ever.
Right.
And like you said, people's beliefs are people's beliefs, but I've never seen Jesus Christ.
True.
But I see you.
True.
I see everybody else.
True.
So my humanity needs to be towards you first.
Teach.
My morale needs to be towards the people I see.
So let's bow to the divinity within us all instead of running off and praising some image
Figure, yeah.
that we don't even know to be right and exact in that image that it bears. Because some people go to church and they pray to a white Jesus, right? Let's just bust it open, right?
Yeah.
But if you are a scriptural reader or a person that reads the Bible, you'll read that it says Jesus has hair like wool. What white person do you know with woolly hair? That's number one. Jesus had eyes red like fire.
If it's out there, we ain't found it yet,
I never seen them. And
We
if
ain't
they
seen it
were
yet.
out, they probably were mixed with some black, like
Right.
like a mixed breed or something. But eyes red like fire. Most of the people that I've seen with eyes red like fire are from the continent of Africa. And some Jamaican boys, them brothers, they be having them red eyes. That's back to Judah. That's back to us. So they're telling y'all, and later, okay, I'm not going to get to, because this is not a theological discussion.
I said, when you interview me, man, it's like,
anything could happen.
not even just interview, just you in conversation with me, I'll sit like this in a conversation at a party. Like we had a party last night at the studio. You're going to find me in a conversation with somebody outside in the midst of all this calamity of sin and just all this drinking, all this other stuff. And I'm sitting there talking. You'll hear this brother outside talking about melanation and we all got to start, I'm talking about this outside of a party with a drink in my hand.
Yeah.
And I'm always focused, always.
So this is a thing, too, because we talked about a lot of learning keys today, right, in our interview. And one of those learning keys that we talked about was content development and actual messages in our music. What he just said is this is his mindset 24/7. So what that tells me is that we as musicians, as artists, as writers, we need to elevate our mindset on a normal basis. And as we do that, our everyday conversation and our lyrical content will be elevated as well. Does that make sense, or does that sound right?
It makes perfect sense because one of my favorite eras, I love all eras of music, like 30s and 40s was good, 20s, roaring 20s with the ragtime, all that.
Sure.
Man, but my favorite era, decades, 80s is dope too. 80s was super dope, but 60s and 70s was powerful to me. just how much what was being the messages that was in the 60s and 70s.
Absolutely.
All the
Marvin
great people,
Gaye,
you
what's
know.
going on.
You had Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
You had all these just different. Nina Simone was like, it's just Jimi Hendrix. Like James Brown was still.
Nina Simone. Woo.
Betty Davis. I found about like Betty Davis. And all these things in the 60s and 70s, and they all stood for something. Harry Belafonte, just everybody stood for this one wave of movement, one thought, one mind. And I try to be now in the era we in. I try to be one of those. I try to be that when I leave this earth, people can go back and listen to my music and start realizing what I've been speaking on my music is not just songs. I'm not just out here lolly-dolly and
Right.
I'm really like saying something in my music. Even when I generalize it, or even when I don't come and say it, you have to see sometimes I let you decode it, and then sometimes I just come straight forward with it. But that depends on who's writing the song. If it's Goose writing the song, or if it's the Cosmic Rebel.
Okay, and I appreciate that. I like that. So, we've been just talking. We've been just parlaying. I'm enjoying our conversation. I'm learning a lot about you as we go along. But I do want to get back to the music that you write and the shows that you do and what it is that you want to promote besides the studio that you discussed, right? So tell me, as far as these three personas are concerned, is there any more information that you want to share on the three?
All of them are human beings at the end of the day.
Okay.
And that's where it all can connect, because I'm always going to come. My music is going to come from a humanity standpoint. You're never going to hear me talk about jewelry. You're never going to hear me talk about glorifying things. You know, it's always about human connection to me. And because
that's potent.
If it's not like, I love animals, but I know animal will attack me. If the right animal, it would attack me if it had the chance, and I can't talk to an animal. You could try.
You can smooth.
You can smooth. Spirit. But it's sad that when people have better communication with an animal
than they do their own fellow human beings. No doubt.
And I just try to bridge that connection, that to make human connection.
So Goose Wayne, your mission right now with your music is bridging that connection with humanity.
Yeah.
Just bringing more humanity to the surface as it relates to music, right?
Yes.
I completely appreciate that. I really love that.
Especially in the digitized world, too.
No doubt.
In this new technology world, we need more, like you said, the more vibrations. We need more humanity.
Well, tell us about some of your music.
Oh, man.
Tell us about the song that you have a whole video for. I want you to introduce the song, but it's a song that you have a whole video for. You actually, in that video, you slid across the ground on that too with the rehearsal tape, right? And you actually have like a beautiful model in there dancing, and you have your whole band in there playing along with you.
It's All I Want.
All I Want.
All I Want. All I Want is another song, and it was crazy because right after the last show you came to, Scoop was on the side of me. He said, "Hey man, he's like, low key, I hear that message in there, and it's a general fun, funky record. Like you just play it and you'll dance to it. But when I wrote the song, I feel like not only is there a disconnection between human beings, period, I feel like sometimes there's a disconnection between melanated men and melanated women. And so in that song,
in fact,
yeah,
go ahead.
in that song, I'm literally in the verses, I'm describing everything that's a distraction, everything that's in between us. And then I'm just getting to the point of saying, all I want is you. At the end of the day. And that's what the record is.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. Well, actually, I like that record.
Thank you.
I like that record a lot. Now, there's another record that I would like you to introduce that's a little more sad, in my opinion. When I listened, I'm like, this is a different This is, I don't, let me see which one. It might be Maurice that did that one.
Yeah,
Maybe.
it was.
And you were at the water and you were singing about, tell us what the name of that song is and tell us what that song is about.
It's called Swim Away. It's called Swim Away, and it took me some days to write that one because, like I said, I had to jump back into more personal and more inner things in me, you know, and just remembering like what I was on that plane, and I had to be removed. You know, I had to be removed literally from the seat because this white man didn't want me sitting next to him, and I'm only 5. And in between the record, it's like, you know, and I'm thinking about the time when I tried to commit suicide when I was like 10, and my grandmother stopped me from doing that, and she had prevented me from doing it. So that record, like, it's a lot of things I put into that record, and I generalized it, and I just tied it all together. And because at the end of the day, no matter what we all been through and what we all go through, we all are trying to swim away without trying to drown. Sure. You know, so that, yeah.
Message: don't drown. Okay, just swim.
Swim away. Fly away if you can too. You know, some people say fly away, but that one I said, yeah, swim. I just swim away.
So being that you were raised on the south side of Chicago as a black man, do you feel like you've had a lot of challenges just growing up and becoming a man?
Definitely. And it's like, the crazy part is, it's like I've always seen it from everybody's perspective. Like, and I'm a Pisces, so I kind of like look at everybody's perspective all the time because I want to know who I'm talking to and who I'm dealing with, or who I'm around, or what's my environment.
Sure.
And I'm just like kind of like Chance the Rapper. I came from a 2-parent home, and I'm the only child. But a lot of times people would never know I'm the only child. I share a lot. One of my problems, my mama always said, was I share too much. And I was always one of that 10-year-olds that had friends, a bunch of friends come over, they'd play the game with me, we'd be sitting there chilling, hanging, you know, we'd do whatever. I've always shared. But even with that, when you step outside of the doors from your parents or your guardians, everybody has to deal with the streets and outside, you know. And then growing up in Roseland, and at the time it was still.
Roseland is kind of tough.
Whether it was Roseland, low end, because I used to hoop for AAU. I was an athlete too, back in the day, football, basketball, and I used to hoop for an AAU basketball team on 63rd and Brainerd, and like just from Roseland to low end, all that, it's just like, man, like it was great days, wonderful days, and then you know you just got other days that. Even sometimes to now, when I think about it, when I'm laying down or something, and it's just one of the moments where everybody can be like, man, in life, like, man, I can't believe I got out of that jam. I can't believe I got out of that squeeze. Like, God was there.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So as an artist, what is your one most important aspiration that you want for yourself right now?
I just want to be a better human being every day.
Okay.
I try to be a better human being every day. I want to try to be a better friend every day. Just better.
So you're not thinking, I want to win a Grammy, I want to be the first this, well, you know what, I want to be the best that
wouldn't be too rock star of me to say all that. You know, that wouldn't be too rockish. You know, when we rocking, we just rock. You know, Grammy's gonna come. If they come, they might come. If they don't, you know, it's some great bands out there right now that still never won a Grammy.
No doubt.
But they still sell out though. As long as we sell out.
Okay,
not sell out shows.
Let's talk about
it.
Sell out the shows. Don't sell out your soul. All right. So I appreciate everything that you have said and shared with me today. I feel like we just sat up here and talked and just got to know each other. We didn't really get into only like the business thing. So real quick, rapid fire. Let me ask you some of the places that you performed so far.
I performed at, surprisingly, for the way I perform, I haven't performed in too many big places yet.
Okay,
Elbow
well, you
Room,
can definitely say elbow room.
Powerhouse.
Okay.
Man, some spots I can't even name. It was like one spot was called Chicago Brewery or something.
Okay.
Liars Club.
Okay.
That's like a punk rock spot.
Okay.
I performed out of town, Indianapolis. Like it's
Okay.
some place I can't remember
Well,
the
I
names.
saw a lot of stuff listed on your website, so I'm
It's probably
just
more
trying to
because
get
I was
you-
able to.
Right.
I was able to research myself and say, "Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I
I
forgot
did
about that
do
one.
that, right.
I did do that. Sometimes, hey, sometimes I am under influence after I leave a venue, and I'm like, I don't even know where we at right now. But
I understand completely. All right, so once again, I'm going to try this one more time. What do you want? Because in this world, on this plane, on this physical plane, we have to state an intent, right?
yeah,
Throw that out in order to get it back. You know what I mean? In order to manifest it. So right now, let's put something out there that you actually want to obtain, so that you can start manifesting it at this exact moment.
And you know what's crazy?
Tell
It's
me.
like you asking me again.
I am. In another way.
In another way. And I'm gonna say this as an example. I met two amazing people because Scoop and Cache, I met them not because it was something I was trying to obtain. It's because every day I'm trying to be better at what I do.
Okay.
And I met C.O.R.E because I'm always trying to be better at what I do, and I'm always trying to be around people that are trying to better themselves.
Okay.
So
You're
long as we
people-
are always trying to challenge ourselves and be better.
You're around
things
people
yeah.
that are within your art, and iron sharpens iron. So when you have other great artists, you guys can sharpen each other. When you have great management teams, you can be sharpened by them, right?
Yeah.
So I respect that. I appreciate that. That's something. So we want to keep in this day, in this moment, the ritual that we're performing live right here is to manifest for this man.
Manifest.
To manifest for this
I'm a
man.
manifester. I love, yeah.
Great, like-minded energies coming his way so that you guys can all continue to sharpen each other as skilled artists, as people, and as human beings, and make that connection, right?
Yeah.
With humanity. Ashe. All right? Ashe. All right, so this has been Goose Wayne. I am Yakira. We definitely have Cache and Scoop in the building, his management team. We definitely have Wide View Publishing in the building. I do all the writing and all that PR stuff. Holla at me if you need me. RedHotRadio.fm on deck,
content,
definitely. And we are recording right now, live. Well, it's not streaming live, but we are in the process of recording at Star Planet Studios. So if you like what you see and you want to get some of this and what we got going on, give me a call. All right? Right here. All right. So with that being said, we're going to wrap this up. Any last words for your fans, for the audience?
For any fans that are fans now, and for all my future fans and future fans, just know I'm always gonna stay me. I'm never gonna switch up on you. And I know some people say never, but I'm never gonna switch up. I am who I am. I'm the Cosmic Rebel, and I'm gonna die the Cosmic Rebel.
But he's got 3 personas, so he doesn't have to change who he is. He
Well,
can
it's the
just
Trinity.
change the mood.
The Cosmic Rebel is the Trinity. It's the ending Trinity.
I actually thought about that when you were saying it, but I didn't want to get too religious because we already did some, scripture quoting and stuff. But you a pretty good brother, man. You all right with me.
You gotta throw one up for me. You gotta throw one up. Rock
no
on.
doubt.
Rock on.
No
There we
doubt.
go.
No doubt. All right. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you for being my gracious guest. You are like the man for real.
Thank you for being a gracious interviewer.
No doubt.
And being, you made it. I always like it when we can make it like just regular conversation.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, with that being said, Tune in next time. This is Yakira and Goose Wayne. We out. Peace.
Radio has changed in a very good way. RedHotRadio.fm. www.redhotradio.fm